RFK undercuts Democrats on J6, saying little evidence of true insurrection. Okay? Independent presidential candidate Robert Kennedy issued a statement criticizing the prosecution of J6 protesters, acknowledging wrongdoing but questioning the portrayal of the event as an insurrection, stating, reasonable people tell me there's little evidence of a true insurrection. Kennedy expressed concerns about the possibility of political motives behind the prosecution of J6 defendants, highlighting a broader pattern of government agencies being used against political opponents, asserting, without the impartial rule of law, there is no true democracy or moral governance. He proposed appointing a special counsel to investigate potential abuse of prosecutorial discretion in the January 6th case. So you know what this means? So in one instance, you have something where a group of people are screaming death to America. Nothing happens to them. In another instance, 1,000 people get arrested for not being happy with what takes place. The government gets to pick and choose who to demonize and who to edify and who to idolize. In this instance, they chose to demonize 1,000 Americans that were simply not happy with what the government was doing. They intentionally figured out a way to demonize these guys and arrest these guys. Tom, what are your thoughts on this with RFK?
We have to remember, why did they call it an insurrection? Why was that word so important to the Democrats to label it an insurrection? Because that was the word that was in the Constitution that gave them the right to take action.
Correct.
So they had to call it an insurrection. That was the only way they could do it. And now you have sane people. You've had sane people in the judiciary, by the way, liberals and conservatives, who have all said the constitutional intent behind the word insurrection was not this. This was a protest that, we can all talk about the protests and the number of agents that were in there and the fact that the doors were wide open. Yeah. Exactly right.
Dressed
Come
as
on
Trump
in here.
supporter.
Hey, can I help you with your big fuzzy hat with horns?
Yeah.
So what is going on here with Kennedy is he is correctly pointing out that the word insurrection is not being used, number one, and then he's correctly pointing out, he says, hey, why don't we just appoint a special counsel to investigate potential abuses of prosecution discretion, abusing prosecutorial discretion in these January 6 cases. Nobody wants to do that because that exposes the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the fact that you blended those two stories together is absolutely perfect. January 6th, like our friend Steve Schmidt, the worst day in American history. No.
Worse than 9/11.
Worse than, yeah, my bad. Thank you. Thank you. Worse than 9/11. These guys are on camera saying death to America. That to me is a threat. Like you want something bad to happen. Meanwhile, this grandmother who was just standing outside waving a flag, she gets arrested. Like give me a freaking break. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Well, I'll kind of marry the two things together. The 14th Amendment, an insurrection or rebellion against the United States of America. I don't personally think it was an insurrection. I think it was. I don't know. I don't think that that's what the intention was. At the same time, I will say that it was a very ugly day for America. I think it was a protest that got completely out of hand by a few bad actors. If there's 1 million people there, if a couple hundred idiots, beyond that maybe, were the ones, those people should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Fully agree with that. But the 99% that didn't do that should not be. But it was a protest. But I'll say this. This commentary, this death to America, death to Israel, everything happened in what state?
Michigan.
It happened in Michigan, correct. We've seen what's going on in Michigan. By the way, if Biden doesn't win Michigan, the election's over. That's the blue wall. Michigan, everyone up in the Pennsylvania area. So Biden is pandering to these people. Whereas insurrection, these people, there's nothing to pander to. They take it down to the fullest extent. So there's a story here about how much money Biden just raised, $90 million.
Whatever.
Here's what I'm telling you. All that money is going to go to ads just showcasing January 6th.
Yeah.
There's two things. Threat to democracy, showcasing January 6th, and they're taking away your ability to have an abortion.
Yeah.
Those are the two things the Democrats have against Trump.
But I hope, and I know our viewers kind of, the majority see on on how we think. But Adam, when you said I'm happy that you said it wasn't an insurrection, because it wasn't. It was a protest. But when you say bad actors, you know who the bad actors were? Ray Epps, obviously a Fed, telling people to go inside. The FBI shooting rubber bullets to make the crowd attack. To the Trump supporters, the fake FBI Trump supporters that were dressed as Trump supporters on the inside, basically setting up like that. They're going to go all in, you're right, on that insurrection stuff. But I hope to God people realize nobody had guns, nobody died. The only female that got shot and killed was Ashley Babbitt, and she was murdered by a Capitol Police officer. That's it.
I'll tell you where I agree with you, and I'll tell you where I disagree with you. I agree that there's Ray Epps' character and there's people out there inciting, but then you're saying that the people don't have personal responsibility. If someone says, bro, go in there and do it.
That's Ray Epps.
It's on your dumbass that went in there and do it.
Yeah.
So those people that listen to Ray Epps, they should be held accountable.
But wait, bro. I get that. Totally get that. But you fell for Russia collusion Trump. You fell for it. So did a lot of people. So did Michael Rappaport. Okay? That's manipulation. Okay? John Maxwell, I was saying this to a guy Sunday at church, right after church, we were having a meeting. John Maxwell said something very powerful from stage that I caught 20 years ago. I was in my mid-20s. He says, the moment you learn how to persuade, be very careful to not use that skill set to manipulate.
Wow.
Very careful to not manipulate. Persuasion, you can learn. Manipulation is one step away. When the government uses these events to manipulate the masses, it's effective. It works. It fully works. The other day, a guy said something on Twitter and tagged me. He says, yeah, look at Patrick. The reason why Patrick didn't go to Glendale to do that event with the Armenian mothers is because they were not willing to pay him his $250,000 speaking fee.
Stupid.
That's why. All he cares about is money. His girlfriend. And I'm like, didn't comment. I'm like,
good.
Okay. But all I'm watching is to see who falls for that. And I watch. I'm like, oh, okay, he believes it. That guy believes it. There's power in lies, because what they don't know about is the fact that we wanted to do it at Dudley Rutherford's hall, that he opened up, Shepherded Hills, the church, with 3,500 people. But the groups from each city wanted me to go do individual podcasts. I said, I don't have that bandwidth. Then I said, guys, the halls you got is 200-300 people. I want to fill it up with 3,500 people that want to do it.
Yep.
There wasn't speaking fee. You were on these calls. I was on every call. You were on these calls, yeah. But the point is, this guy who's got 110,000 followers, who actually does pretty good content, I've seen his stuff. He's very good. He's manipulating. He knows he's doing that. So he either fell for somebody else's manipulation or he's causing it himself. So the point I'm making to you, Adam, is it is very, very effective. And sometimes the smartest people can fall for this trap. The gift of manipulation that the government uses, they have access to something that the average person simply doesn't have access to.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.